At the time, it was a contemporary fantasy novel. Now it's a historical fantasy because I kept it in 1984, I think, is the year that I set it in. So, yeah, it wasn't the first novel I wrote or the first one I tried to get published. It was, however, the first one that got published in 1997. So, even by that point, it had been about at least 10 years that I had been sending it around. And but that was back in the good old days when everything was typed up and you sent it out in a box and you waited forever, and then you got either you got it back if you'd sent enough postage, or if you were lucky, you got at least a letter back. Sometimes they just lost the manuscript. So I don't really miss that way of doing things.
I bet.
So that's oh, I was frozen there for a moment on my screen. So that was the background. And because it was written while I was in Weyburn, that's why it's set in Weyburn. And it was inspired by Weyburn. Weyburn is a prairie town of about 10,000 people, but it has a hill, which is a little unusual in southern Saskatchewan. The river kind of curves around the bottom of this hill, and there's a water tower, an old water tower on top of the hill. It looks a bit like a lighthouse. It's a distinguishing feature of Weyburn. But I was driving through town, and I looked at that hill, and I thought, what would be more interesting on that hill would be a castle of some sort. And that was the inspiration.